what? We're going to tell you the truth because we eat in Atlanta all the time. Was Keith Lee right? Girl. Anyway, so the real milk and honey. The real milk and honey, it was just called milk and honey. It was so good. It was so impressive. Every time somebody came to town, I was going there. Every time I had a reason, I was going there. I went there so many times. The last time I went there, I heard that the two owners had fell out, broke up, and that's why they started another one called the Real Milk and Honey. And when I say the service went down, the food went down, I was so embarrassed. After 2 hours, I walked out of there. It was just horrible. It was so embarrassing. But before it was good. Then they opened up one on Wesley Chapel, and I went to that one. I was like, okay, it just opened. They hadn't had their grand opening yet. Then I went afterwards. I was like, oh, okay. I heard the owner had moved out of town. I said, because this ain't right. This ain't right. And so I never went back. And I was surprised. Every time somebody said something, I said, oh, it's still open. Because I just knew it was going to close.
I've been to them once.
Which one?
Milk and honey. I wasn't impressed with the one on Cascade because the pictures of the food didn't match the pictures on Instagram.
It used to.
I didn't understand.
But then I went to the one on Main Street. And they tried to give me some plastic silverware to eat pancakes.
Then I went to the one on Wesley Chapel, and the chicken was still raw on the inside. So
it was so bad the first two times I went to Milk and Honey. It was so bad. And then, but I just went. Baby, I just went. It ain't been 2 weeks. It was good. I had this fried salmon hash. It was tasty. It was tasty. It was flavor. It was good.
But Keith's argument was not about the food because he didn't get no food.
But I believe he didn't get no food. It don't make no sense. Everything that everybody's saying is true. It's ridiculous. Our food scene needs to be better.
What was more Real Milk and Honey was their response. Their response was out of line, disrespectful.
Oh, rude. When they responded to his
review. That's why
they just mad.
Why it's no longer. That's why they took it down.
Oh, they took it down.
Yes.
But you know what? That attitude is reflective in the service that you receive. The service at the Real Milk and Honey on Main Street is the worst. I don't know who they think they are. Too many restaurants on that block for them to act like that. I don't know who they think they are. They need a whole revamping. They need to clean for a deep cleaning. They need to deep clean the staff and the restaurant.
Reflective of the culture of Atlanta restaurants in general.
It don't make no sense. I'm so disappointed in Atlanta restaurants. Atlanta think they all that.
But I also think that we are at fault because we've accepted it all of this time.
We don't have no choice. All right. We don't have no choice.
Keith Lee came and brought it up. If it wasn't for him, we still be. And now that he's gone, tomorrow when I go back to a restaurant, I might still have to wait 2.5 hours to eat with the 20% automatic gratuity and all
That's the problem.
All that Atlanta restaurant nonsense because he's gone. But now they're breathing a sigh of relief.
But
but I understand why they do it. The place where you have to go on Eventbrite and buy a ticket for brunch.
Oh, where we went, the garden room.
Yeah,
Garden Park.
I don't like that. It's weird.
I kind of like that.
But I understand why they do that. So you don't have to wait for 2.5 hours to get your motherfucking food. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate.
And you know who coming.
Yes,
They
know what food, how much food
I like
to buy.
that. Yep.
They know,
how much they got to cook. Yes. I like that. I love that.
Yes, and I guess it's easier for us because it's prepaid.
It's nice. I like that. Yeah, that's one of the better places. And your food fresh.
So, what do you think? If Keith Lee would have walked in, would they find a seat for him? Or would they said, no, we're full, get on Eventbrite for next week?
Oh, yeah, no. They wouldn't have let him in. They might have let him observe. Because it's a whole, and that's what I like about Garden Park. For real. He could have stepped back there and maybe they could have let him taste something. But they wouldn't. Every seat is full. If you come, Keith Lee, and he would have liked it too.
He would have appreciated
He would appreciate that.
He would have stay away from the restaurants with the grass walls and the neon lights.
That's everywhere.
That's the problem.
White and black.
They're more worried about Instagram photos than customer service.
That's Atlanta though, and I like it. I love it. I love all of that. I want to take a picture everywhere, honey. Don't get me wrong. I want to give it all to you. I want the full experience and good food.
Okay.
I want a good
so where do you
food
suggest?
and a fair price. Now, I do not like this mandatory tipping. I feel like if we're going to do a mandatory tip, it needs to be 10% or 15%, something low, and let me put over. Like, I don't think anybody should serve people. They should get 10%. 10% is an insult. That's ridiculous. That should just be on every bill. 10% gratuity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, me, as a grown-ass woman, will give anybody more than that treat me any kind of way, unless you just brung DoorDash like that.
Because when they get
That's
20,
not acceptable.
when they get 20, the customer service is awful, and they know they're getting 20,
right?
So they don't have to act right,
right.
And
the customer service is awful,
and I think that's a big
the customer service down here is awful. The waiters are more entitled than you. And I used to love Spondivis. I just can't go back to Spondivis in good conscience. You got to pay in advance. You got to get them an automatic 20% before you even get your food. And then they got an attitude with you. You got to be like, excuse me, you scared. Can I get some more water? Mm-hmm. Can I get some ice with that? Mm-hmm. They like, what you want? What else you want? This is part 2. We got a 3 and a 4. We're going over all of the restaurants that Keith Lee had a problem with.